By now, you have realized just how much goes into maintaining a home educating your children, and all that goes into being a wife and a mother. So you know that your time is precious and it needs to be used well. Yes, we should have times of refreshment and rest, and we'll get there, I promise. But what if you could have that refreshment and that rest with a truly at peace brain because you set yourself up for success the next day? Our evenings really do determine how the start of our next day is going to go. If you stay up late, watching TV, scrolling, eating junk food, how does the next day start off? I'm going to guess it does not start off very well. I personally myself have cut out most junk foods, and if in the evening we have an event or something or a get-together with people and I eat too much sugar, I just don't sleep well that night. And the next morning, I am feeling rough. And so I think you can relate to that. We're not perfect. We're going to have times we're going to make some bad decisions, but what about those evenings that you get to bed on time, you make sure you get washed up, you have some wind down time, you make some connection with your husband, and you just have that just refreshment? How does your next day start off? Probably on a much better foot, right? Let's get some pen and paper here for this episode, and we're going to get some things written down because I really think that it's important for us to think about what we really should do every evening before bed as a homeschool mom. Let's put pen to paper and have a serious discussion here, but it's actually, I think it's kind of fun. I enjoy putting together systems and working off a little bit of a checklist and be like, okay, I've accomplished those things. Now I can just can you just picture myself, my arms just stretch out and be like, okay, that's done. Now I can be at peace in my brain. We are set up for tomorrow, and I can have that bit of margin in my evening so that I can then get to bed with a brain that is ready to rest and wake up the next day feeling good. So let's get into what you should do every evening before bed as a homeschool mom. Welcome to Little by Little Homeschool Podcast. I am your host, Leigh Nguyen, a mom who never intended to homeschool, but all these years later, I couldn't imagine a better life, a better foundation, a better childhood for my children, and overall, just a better connection for my family. I hope so much that this podcast and specifically this episode encourages you and helps you to begin and or continue through all the years of home education. I'm so glad you're listening to today's episode. So let's dive right now into today's topic. But before we do that, I feel like if I had a sound effect machine, I probably do on my recording app. Let's put some brakes on right there. I want to tell you about something. Guess what? This is a special week for myself and my family because they're excited to be able to celebrate this. And you know what? I am not going to be shy about the fact that this Wednesday, January 21st, I am turning 50 years old. The funny thing is, I remember my parents turning 50, and it just felt so old, and we just had a lot of fun with the jokes of being over the hill and everything. And I look back now, I'm like, oh man, that wasn't very nice to be joking about how old they were, because I actually look back now, I'm like, wow, they had a whole lot of life and vitality and were in great physical condition, and it was just, yeah. So it's kind of funny how time just goes by and suddenly we're here. But why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because in honor of my birthday, I want to give a gift to you. First of all, thank you for listening to this episode. That is a gift to me. You listening to this episode, and maybe you listen to this one or another one, and you share it with a friend or your homeschool group on a Facebook page or something like that. Well, that would be great. But I want to offer a gift to you this week in honor of my 50th birthday. And that means that I'm going to run a special sale. I don't do too many sales on my courses, but this week I am on the Tidy Home and your Homeschool Blueprint. If you have been thinking about joining, this is the week to do so. You can grab either course or both of them for each 25% off through this Friday, January 23rd, when you use the coupon code BIRTHDAY. I mean, you know how to spell birthday, right? BIRTHDAY. So if you've been thinking about it, grab your 25% off on either one of those courses or both of them. You can go to littlebylittlehomeschool.com. And you can go to either one, but if you specifically are looking for one, you can do /tidyhome or /blueprint, and you can be able to get to those. And as always, my friend, the link for any of those is in your show notes. Now, let's get back into today's topic. And let's talk about what you should do every evening before you get to bed. Let's partner together, you and I, in creating this. Maybe grab some pen and paper. Maybe put this on pause, grab a pen and paper. Maybe you like using the notes on your phone app or something else, but I'm an old school girl, like I just mentioned. I am turning 50 in 2 days from now. And so I appreciate this Gen X old lady here like some pen and paper. And what I would like you to do is just off the top of your head, say, what would be good for me to do in the evening before I go to bed? Now, if your children are young, they might be going to bed at 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, and they're in bed. So what would you like to do in that time? What would feel good to get accomplished? Maybe your kids are a little bit older and they might stay up till 8:30, 9, 9:30, but maybe they spend that time quietly in their room, or they just have something that they can do, and you are able to kind of buzz around and get a couple of things done and say to them, look, this is mom's time to reset everything and get going on the next day. You have your quiet downtime. Or maybe you're at my end of the season of life, and my kids, I often am in bed before 1 or 2. I still kind of have a little bit of a bedtime for my youngest. That might sound a little bit crazy, but it's like 9 o'clock. I think it's very reasonable. He likes to get up by 6 o'clock in the morning and go to the gym. So he's a grown boy. Anyway, that's not even what the topic of this is. But in the evening, specifically, this is when you have time, when you are not having to meet the needs of kids. And these are things I'm going to give you my ideas of things that are important for me to get done. But I would do this after my kids were in bed. I was always like get them to bed kind of early as they can kind of go to bed and still go to sleep and sleep until a decent time. So first thing would be for you to just write down what would be good for you to get done in the evening. This is post-dinner, hopefully maybe clean up from dinner, post-baths, hopefully kids are in bed and the house is a little bit quiet. So once you write down what you think you should do, let's now partner together and figure out what does that actually look like and put together a list of things. And this is not meant to be hours and hours long. My recommendation is 30 to 45 minutes max. In some seasons of life, I had a 15-minute time window that I was this is what I need to accomplish in 15 minutes. I would say super focused, get it done. And this is usually a season of life when my kids were all going to bed a little bit later, and I needed to get to bed as well, but not too late. So 15 minutes, or I just was I don't want to spend more than 15 minutes. I need more rest time. I need more downtime, more margin in my evenings. So what would be good for you to do? You probably already know. And then say to yourself also, what would be good to do this evening that's going to lead me to a successful start of the day tomorrow? Answer that question too. You can pause if you want and then come back to the episode. But I have a couple of specific categories that I focus on and I think would be really good for you to focus on as well. And then I will, spoiler alert, I'll tell you some of my things that I do every evening before bed, and then I can feel things are shut down for the day and things are prepared for the next day. So I have 4 categories that I like to encourage moms to think about. And so I'm going to tell you these 4 categories and then we're going to go through each of them. So if you want to write down on your pen and paper that you have, right? And you can go ahead and write down some of my ideas underneath and then you can add to them as well. And then finally, when all of this is done, write down a final list. That is really what I recommend. And when I got into this, I don't need a physical list anymore. I know where my physical list is, but I don't need to look at it anymore because it is just such a habit. I know exactly what to do in all of the different areas in these 4 different categories that I'm going to give you, and I don't have to think about it. But it's really good to have a list, and then you can just look at it, and then you know that you've gotten everything done. And eventually, you'll get to the point where you can remember that list without even consulting it at all. So the 4 categories are, first is your home, second is your homeschool, 3 is personal, and the 4th has to do with meals. Now, these are in no particular order, and your list that you come up with, you could have it just written down randomly. But if your mind kind of works a little bit better, or if this is something that is really new to you, or it's a struggle to stay focused, then I would encourage you to write down maybe all the things that have to happen in the kitchen in the same category, like in a row, so that you're in the kitchen, you're looking at your list. You can take this list around the house with you too, if you have to go to different areas in the house to accomplish these. So in the kitchen, what do I need to do in the kitchen and then just have that all listed down. A lot of these, spoiler alert, a lot of these have to do within the kitchen. So let's start with your home. And we're going to the kitchen. So your kitchen is cleaned up. Put the kitchen to bed. You are cleaned up from dinner. There are 0 dirty dishes in the sink. There are 0 dirty and or clean dishes on the sink counter. There's nothing. I even go through and all of the big pots and pans from dinner that have been washed, they have to be hand washed. They don't fit into the dishwasher. They are on a drying rack next to the sink. Those all get put away in the evening. If you don't, is it going to make the whole next day terrible? Absolutely not. But it's just one more step. And most of these steps, especially if you've cleaned up right after dinner, will not take you very long. If you have that 30 to 45 minutes, you can accomplish a lot. And I think when you write down this list, you're going to look and say, oh, wow, that's a lot to do. But each of the things on the list shouldn't take you more than a minute or two. And you might find, oh, it actually only takes me 15 to 20 minutes. And then I had allotted 30 minutes, say. You're like, oh, well, that means I have an extra 10 to 15 minutes to wind down, maybe read a book, relax, maybe take a shower, take a bath. And so you would find that you have more time than you actually think that you do. So under the category of your home, your kitchen is cleaned up. That means there's nothing dirty. There's nothing clean on the counters. Your dishwasher is either running or maybe you are able to set it on a timer that it turns on in a couple of hours. I have that going because I have kids maybe going to the gym late at night or taking a shower late at night and I'm in bed already or something and I want them to have some hot water. So I have mine that turns on maybe like 11 or 12 at night and then it's done within 2 hours or however much time. And so you can maybe just start it. If you're like, everybody's done taking showers and baths and they're in bed. But for many years, my kids were young, I would just start it in the evening after they would go to bed. And it would be, done at some point after I would go to bed. Something else with your home is to think about laundry. How do you like to do laundry? Do you like to do it all in one day? Do you like to scatter it out throughout the week? I really don't think that there's any right or wrong answer. And there's pros and cons to each thing. I think that it's best to do what is best in that season of life. There were some seasons of life that it was just easier for me to do a load of laundry every day. There were some seasons it was better for me to say, what, this is my big project this day, and I'm just going to do all the laundry and really no other extra chores are happening that day, just the regular day in and day out. And in between that, I'm just going to continue to change the laundry and wash, dry, fold it, and get it put away. And so you have to just decide what is going to be best for that season. I know that there are YouTube videos, there's all kinds of things out there that are telling you what you have to do. You only need to do what is best for your family right now in this season. For me, throwing a load of laundry in the evening usually means throwing a load of towels. We go through a lot of towels. I'm actually a little picky. I like to have fresh towels in the kitchen every morning when I come down, or even if there aren't fresh towels that I can pull out fresh towels. I like to use fresh stuff, wash dishes, dry dishes every single day. And so that probably means that maybe I need to do a load of laundry every 4 or 5 evenings, I guess. It's not like I don't do a set. And you could, if you want to say every Monday and Thursday, I throw a little laundry in the evening of sheets or towels, whatever it is. You can do that. Again, you have to decide. But for me, every couple of nights, it is just a load of laundry, or if we're doing projects and I have drop cloths and, it's just that extra kind of stuff. It's not typically clothing that I do at night, but you can do it clothing at night. I know some people say, well, it's stinky in the morning. Well, my washing machine doesn't stink. So I can have that start. And that's another reason I set a timer for my dishwasher to maybe turn on at 11 or 12 at night, because I have set the washing machine to do a load of laundry and it is done before that time. Whether I'm using hot water or cold water, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't really matter that you have 2 things running, and maybe in your house it does. We have had some houses where we could not run both those things at the same time, or water would be flowing somewhere. That was super annoying, but don't live at that house anymore. But so a load of laundry, and then also include like a quick pickup. Hopefully you have had your kids kind of pick up toys. Even there were some seasons I was like, let's just, all the toys in the living room, can we just move them to the outer edges of the living room? Therefore, I don't step on something if I happen to walk through here and need to walk through here in the middle of the night when it's dark. But some type of quick pickup. Maybe it is dismantling a fort that was made in the living room on the couch. And I just remember sometimes being like, okay, kids, 15-minute pickup, and then whatever they didn't get done that was important to me, that would help us the next day, I would just do after they were in bed, because I was like, you know what, I can do this much faster and there won't be any complaining, and just kind of get it done. So a quick pickup, that could include all of the rooms, or it could just be one room that you want to kind of focus on. Second category is your homeschool. Take a look at the next day and look over the plans that you have hopefully set up for the week and know what you are doing the next day. You can pull out some books. Maybe there is a specific book or a couple of picture books or whatever it is that you know that you need the next day that is not out already. Pull that out. I would go and set up and have my kids stacks of books with their assignment pad set out, kind of reorganizing, maybe sharpen some pencils, just kind of getting things a little bit set up a little bit neater, and just kind of making it so that when they come down, it's just neater, just making it things neat. So setting up their books, maybe you have to check some of their work. Sometimes there just isn't time in the day to check over maybe their math worksheet. Go ahead and take a look at that, make any markings on it or anything that they need to do any corrections on. Take a look and see if there's some adjustments. Maybe you didn't get as far in something as you thought you were going to that day. And so therefore, if you use some type of planner or assignment notebook or something like that, that you make those adjustments of what needs to be done the next day so that it's fresh in your mind because you just worked on that today. If maybe the next day you have something like a co-op, maybe that's the time that you get some things pulled out. I would highly recommend having your kids, if maybe they have to bring a backpack with some stuff or they have a project that they're going to do. But this is your time to do any of the final stuff of pulling things out for co-op. Maybe you have lunch at co-op and you have a cooler that you need to bring out from the closet and put in the kitchen. Just those little things to make the next day go smoother. Maybe you do have co-op and you have to bring a lunch, and it's just easier to make the sandwiches the night before than it is the morning of. So whatever you need for this homeschool day the next day, and this does not have to take long. It might take the longest of what you need to do, especially if there's a lot that's going on the next day or you have co-op or activities or something like that. But set yourself up for success in your homeschool. Third category is personal. Take a look and see, do you have any appointments tomorrow? Do you have anything specific that you need to do? Are there any phone calls you need to make? And it helps you to have a little bit of a list, and you can write down a couple of those things because you're thinking of it right now so that you don't forget the next day and the craziness of everybody getting up. Maybe you take a moment to reply to some text messages or emails that have come through that day. And the final category is for your meals. Take a look at maybe your meal plan and say, what are we doing for breakfast tomorrow? Do I have everything that I need for breakfast? Is this a breakfast that can still happen? You might say, oh no, we ran out of milk, so therefore we can't do whatever your breakfast idea was. Okay, let's make an adjustment in what do we need and making sure you have those ingredients, whatever it is for breakfast the next day. But also think about dinner. This one right here, when I started doing this, was so helpful because I would take a look and say, right, what are we having for dinner tomorrow night? Oh no, I never took the meat out of the freezer. This will give you 12 hours ahead, hopefully, of more time that meat can be thawed out. So run to your freezer and pull it out and have that set out. Sometimes I then still in the morning have to pull it out and put it on the counter for a couple of hours. I know maybe some people don't like that and they think that that's not good for the food and for people. We're alive. We've not died, so I'm okay with it. But check what's for dinner and see that you have the meat in the fridge for that. It's not in the freezer, and check if you have ingredients. Maybe you need to make some adjustments for that as well. So again, this shouldn't take you a lot of time, but I'm going to tell you right now, when I started really concentrating on my evening and having just some specific time and telling myself, put my phone aside, it is not important. I'm going to go and do this, and then afterwards I'm going to get myself washed up, get my pajamas on, sit and hang out with my husband. Maybe I'll let myself go onto social media. I try to set a time limit for that as well. Get a book, read, do some, crocheting, quilting, whatever maybe a hobby is, just something that can kind of relax once you have this list done. Once this list is done, then hopefully then you have that time, that margin, that refreshment, that rest, and then you move yourself to getting to bed on time. All right, friend, I hope that this has helped. Hopefully you did write that down, pen, paper, and everything. But before I close, don't forget this week is a birthday sale in honor of my 50th birthday. You can receive 25% on the Tidy Home and your Homeschool Blueprint, or you can do it for both of them. Just use coupon code BIRTHDAY from today and through this Friday, January 23rd. The link will be in the show notes for you. Have a great day.